the residue and chemicals needing to be carefully cleaned from the fabric. Imogene had hoped Hazel's position in the laundry would be open, but it had already been filled, leaving only the cafeteria as an option. The Mill Creek Ordnance Works wasn't hiring. If anything, they were letting people go. The war is over, after all. The lilting voice broke into Imogene's thoughts, words that fit perfectly with what she'd been musing about. She turned from the scenery out the bus window and looked across the aisle. A woman, not much younger than Imogene, smiled at her with a gentle ease. For a brief flicker, Imogene was jealous of the peaceful sparkle in the girl's blue eyes and the frizz around her shoulder-length curls, indicative of a natural wave rather than a permanent. "I'm sorry." The young woman folded and unfolded her fingers, as though she were shy and for some reason intimidated by Imogene. "I didn't mean to bother you. I was just thinking about how bright the sun is. But it makes sense, you know, with the war finally being over now." "Of course." Imogene offered a smile, but doubted the sun cared whether the world was at war or at peace. She gave the young woman a quick once-over, knowing instinctively and not at all pridefully that she was far prettier than the girl across the aisle. Maybe that was why she was timid. "I'm Ida Pickett." The girl lifted her hand in a small wave. She waited, and Imogene mustered another smile. The bus drove over a pothole in the road, and they lurched in their seats. "Imogene Grayson." Imogene offered her name and was surprised when the stranger's eyes instantly dimmed. "Oh." Ida put her fingers to her lips, which had no color on them to begin with. "Are you related to Hazel?" The piercing agony of reality was never going to diminish at the mention of her sister's name. Imogene was sure of it. "She was my sister, yes." "I'm so sorry." Ida reached for her handbag and pulled a handkerchief from it. She dabbed the corners of her eyes. "I'm sorry," she repeated. "I don't mean to make such a scene when it's your sister who's been lost. But I used to ride with Hazel. Every day to the plant, we'd sit right here." Ida glanced at the empty seat beside her, then fell silent. Imogene hesitated only a moment before clutching her purse and rising from her crouched position, ducking to keep her head from hitting the roof of the bus. Struggling to keep her balance, she waddled across the aisle and plopped down onto the empty seat. Hazel's empty seat, and resolutely tilted her chin up. She tried to muster a brave and confident smile as she looked down her pert nose at Ida. "I'll fill her seat," Imogene announced, swallowing back her grief. Ida offered a tiny smile in return. "That's awfully sweet of you." Imogene had no intention of letting this opportunity go to waste, yet she knew, with someone as reserved as Ida Pickett seemed to be, that she'd need to temper her personality or she'd frighten the heebie-jeebies out of her. Were you close to Hazel?" Doubtful, Imogene had already determined, but it was a polite way to inquire as to the terms of Ida's friendship with Imogene's sister. Hazel had never mentioned an Ida Pickett before, but then, Imogene admitted to herself, Hazel hadn't mentioned anyone from the plant.
Imogene tucked the realization away in the back of her mind as Ida tucked a curl behind her ear.
"Oh, we were close enough, I suppose, considering we shared the bus together most every day." Ida gave a small laugh. "I work in the cafeteria, and Hazel was in the laundry." Ida's sentence dwindled. Imogene snatched the opportunity. "I'm going to be working in the cafeteria." "You are?" Ida's head snapped up, and she met Imogene's eyes. The friendly twinkle was back. "How lovely." "I hope I do well," although Imogene was confident that making sandwiches and serving the workers wasn't going to be any more difficult than wrapping old Mrs. Putaker's hair. "You'll do just fine, I'm sure." Ida patted the back of Imogene's hand, and for a moment it stunned her. It was as though Hazel had somehow reached out of the grave to touch her. to be a part of reassuring Imogene that she was on the right trail, and to thank her for it.